We are going to go to a Q&A. Do you have stuff pulled up, Fiasco?
I do. I got the chat up right now.
All right. I'm going to take a quick break, and I'll be right back. But you guys can take questions from the audience.
Okay. All right, everybody in the chat, let us know what you want to know. We still got the same people here. So any questions you got, I'll filter it to them or me. Yeah.
I think you should just answer them all.
Jenny says, any word on the Boulder Ridge refurb? I've not been following that.
Yes. We actually learned at the condo association meeting that it's still happening. That's all. The end. It's supposed to happen hopefully in 2022. The interesting thing from this year's condo association meeting was that there was no news of a future refurbishment schedule. Usually they put a picture on their slideshow that they have of, these are the refurbished, basically refurbishments and the minor refreshes that are going to occur over the next 2 to 3 years. There was no such graphic, surprisingly, this year, which surprised, and yet I think we weren't surprised at the same time.
It was really disappointing. But Boulder Ridge did finish their test rooms, and they are really, really pretty. I can't remember what floor they're on, but you can go down and see the new carpet and the floor. You can't really look into the rooms. But so that makes me hopeful. It's supposed to be in 2022. They just didn't give us a date of when it's going to start.
I think there will be pitchforks and angry mobs if it doesn't. Yeah, if it gets skipped over again, because I feel like it's been skipped for 2 years now. Grand Californian also. This just randomly came out in the Q&A part of the condo association meeting. But if anyone wondered why those annual dues went up so much this past year, apparently they are getting ready for a refurbishment. Was it 2020?
2024? Yeah. I think that was it.
Yeah.
And the only reason that came out was because during a Q&A session, someone asked, why is Grand Cal going up 7%? And they said, well, we do reserves for the refurbs that are coming up. There's one in 2024. And then they talked about the wage increases, but.
Yeah. So, hopeful we'll see something, but no promises.
So somebody's asking, Paul, where'd you get your glasses?
That's more of a question for my wife, but she turned me on to Zenni Optical, where, if you're used to spending $200-$300 on glasses, you can get them for about $20. So these are one of the Amy's got like 25 pairs.
I will never ever pay for prescription glasses at an eye doctor again. I pay $7 on Zenni for my glasses, and so Paul and I have like 10 pairs each, and they're prescription. Mm-hmm. You can choose all kind of different. You could do transition.
I think these ones are a little bit more because they've got like the blue blocker technology in them, which is why I picked them to be blue, so I would know.
And these are not resale glasses, correct?
No, these are brand new glasses. Like you don't need a prescription you just need to know what your prescription is.
Yeah, my daughter just ordered from them yesterday.
Whoa, really?
Yeah.
Do we have a coupon code for Zenni?
We should.
I'll see if I could get you one.
Hashtag not sponsored.
I think one was sent to her, so I'll pass it along.
Yeah. But they're good. I like them. And if you break them, you don't feel bad.
No.
That was my biggest problem.
Yeah, and if your eye prescription changes, it's like a $20 investment to replace all your glasses.
Yeah.
So at least for me.
I remember my mom telling me one time that she spent like $500 on a pair of glasses, and I was like, "What? Yeah. I don't need to see that badly. Yeah, no, I'll just go with blurry."
Any word on Reflections? I don't think so, unless you know something about that meeting. I don't.
No, Reflections. Reflections is
Disney
dead.
will never acknowledge.
That's after Disneyland Towers.
Disney will never probably acknowledge that name ever existed, and will never bring up that name ever again. If you look back over the history of projects that have died, they just die, and they never really are mentioned ever again. The second half of, I think it was Pop Century Resort, fell to that same fate.
Yeah, and it was vertical. Like it had. Oh yeah, they had started the build.
It is what Art of Animation is now. Mm-hmm. And the buildings existed. They just never continued it at that time. Yeah, and it's like. It's on the list of words not to use at Disney, and probably at Disney Vacation Club too. Disney. Yeah, it's like
I think we had looked at one point like last year, and we're like, oh, they just spread grass seed all over the hill. Yeah. So you know what I mean, of what they originally were building on. So they didn't mention it at the condo association. I think it's I think it's done.
Yeah.
So,
So I do believe at some point they will build something on the Reflections site, but I do not believe it will be the Reflections rehab facility that will actually be built there. It'll be a new concept at that point. So
Someone just brought something up really interesting. Do you think park hopping will be possible between Christmas and New Year's? Wondering about capacity eliminating the ability during our vacation. I'm wondering about that too.
So I would look to the 50th, October 1st, and what happened there, because a lot of people thought that park hopping was not going to be a thing on the 50th, and it was. And what happened, I can't remember exactly. Paul, do you remember? They started letting people in actually at 1 o'clock instead of 2. I'm not sure
I think they
why.
started corralling them basically outside of Magic Kingdom.
Because it was so crowded outside. They had to start letting people in early. And then they were sending push notifications through My Disney Experience, so people were getting them to know the current status of park hopping. And so you would get a push notification that's like, at this time, park hopping is now ended for Magic Kingdom. So I would imagine they would do something similar to what they did.
It was
on the
like
50th.
it was like mid to late afternoon, I believe, when it finally was fully shut down.
Yeah,
I
they
think, for
gave
the
them a
evening.
few hours
But
to
that's
get in.
because, I mean, every spot on Main Street was full at that point waiting for the fireworks. I mean, there was nowhere to go, basically. So we could see it happen again. I'll be surprised, I guess, if we do. But yeah.
So I don't know if we'll have the answer to this, but I think maybe we will. What is the cheapest type of DVC contract look right now in a month? So like, I guess what he's asking is like, if you finance and pay by month, like a small point contract at like Saratoga or Old Key West or Animal Kingdom Lodge or whatever, what is your monthly expenses going to end up looking like?
So I'm on the financing side, and I've seen people with monthly payments as low as like $80 a month, if that's what you're asking. That's not including, annual dues, which are going to be separate. You can also,
Like what size contract are you?
we're talking like 50, 30 point
50,
contracts.
okay.
Yeah. So that's going to be, if that's your only contract and you want to like, you want something that's is as low cost as possible, you're going to be looking at like something where you bank and you borrow and you combine, 3 years, or with the borrowing restrictions, it's going to be like 2.25 years worth of stuff and go every few years. But yeah, I've seen people, Monera goes up to 12 years in terms of the term length. You can do anything from 1 to 12 years. So obviously, the longer of a term you get, the lower your monthly payment's going to be. You're going to end up paying more in interest in the long run. But a lot of people take that longer payment, and then they have a lower payment and they put more towards it. And then, when they have extra money, they continue putting towards it. But then something like, Christmas comes up and you have to back off. You just have like a lower payment. You don't have to worry about it. But yeah, you can get it small contracts for like $80-something a month.
That's pretty good. So we are almost at the time where we're going to be starting the Disney dining segment of our marathon, I believe. But I'm going to take one more question from the chat before we get there. Where was it? I thought this was... Oh yeah. I don't see it, but I remember it. Do we think DVC will ever move into any moderate or value units?
No.
I don't know. I think there's been rumor that I've heard rumors that they may consider putting a resort in moderate lands, and I don't know about value, but I have heard that. I don't know how it would work other than maybe the point values being really low needed to stay there, because they're not going to charge less per point, especially if you could use those somewhere else. So maybe if it's a value resort, it just means that you use less points to stay there. I don't know. But I have heard those rumors.
I did an article on DVC Fan that I wanted Coronado Springs to have like a DVC tower just like Grand Casino, only like next to it. And I even like mapped it out and drew like, here's the buildings that aren't used very often in cabanas. You can take them out. Yep. You can add a tower. But you're right. The point charts would have to be a little less because you're going to lack some amenities or you don't have to. I mean, they can add balconies.
I think what we'd more probably see is like the extension of the current values or the current moderates and adding a building that is DVC esque,
Yes.
so to say. So I really think that it's possible. I find it hard to believe that Disney would ever actually build a regular standalone hotel again with how much money DVC brings in for them. So, you know,
when I saw Riviera being built, I thought originally it was like a DVC resort at Caribbean Beach. Like that was my misunderstanding. But I don't know.
Yeah, I think you look at the macroeconomics, the Walt Disney Company, the price of the tickets, the price of the hotels, the price of the direct, they have made it very clear, and that's one of the biggest complaints of the world. Disney is is not the place where it's becoming more and more of an exclusive place for very wealthy people, more and more. And it's working, and they realize it. And I see all of Disney continuing to go in the direction of the club. It's Club 33, and whether you're a member or not, I hate to say it.
And on that note, we are now switching to the Disney dining segment of the Marathon Show. So that's going to do it for this DVC show and Q&A. And we're not going anywhere. We're all still going to be right here, but we're going to be swapping around now. So
All right.
Play the musical chairs music. I don't have any music to play. Somebody hum something.
There you go.